All right.
And it started.
Should we?
Yeah,
Oh,
I started the
okay.
recording too.
We're gonna
All right.
introduce ourselves.
Yes, let's introduce ourselves.
All
So I
right.
am
All right.
Rondax Studios.
IVAX the Awesome.
Raptors.
Biotuber Productions.
I'm Starguard Studios.
And I'm Sartix Films.
Yes. What have been your top 3 biggest influences on your channel?
I would have to say, like, as far as well, because when I first got into YouTube, the first channels that I discovered were Shadow Gear 6335, Kyla Nuva, one of my all-time favorites, who sadly she doesn't do anything anymore, and she mainly does speed paints. But Moon Werewolf Air, I loved her videos. Toa Juni, because I think she was kind of around, but not too much. And there were a couple other ones, and I just absolutely loved watching their videos. And they kind of got me inspired to do a lot of just like mocking in general. And then I made a lot of videos, but a lot of them were never like put up on YouTube because first off, I didn't have a YouTube channel, and I either lost the camera card or like everything got deleted, and I'm 100% okay with that because I was young and I was dumb. So we will not discuss that. But so Kyla Nuva, Biorock Dude, Moon Werewolf Air, those are probably my 3 biggest biotubers. But as far as the later years go, definitely Walking Dead has been a huge inspiration and influence. But as far as like an actual like third, because I got the Biotubers, Walking Dead, I don't really think I have a third one that I can think of off the top of my head. Maybe the military, I guess. I kind of got big into airsoft, and I'm a huge Second Amendment advocate and everything, and I love just guns in general. So I guess that could probably be another influence.
All right. You love guns. Okay.
Coolio.
Tell us about how you got your first Bionicle set.
Well, there's kind of that one's a little bit difficult to answer because my first one wasn't actually bought in store. It was actually my very first Bionicle that I received was I can never remember all the Borak. I think the white one is it Korak? Korok?
I think that's
It sounds about right. I got the white Borak Va, Korak Va, or whatever his name is. The little guys. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
My
Yeah, they're fun.
half brother received that as like a birthday present, but he wasn't really into Bionicle, so he kind of gave it to me, and I was like, oh, hey, this is a cool little toy, take it apart, put it back together. But my actual first Bionicle that I bought in store, it was like late Friday night, and my mom was like, hey, let's go get you a toy or something. And like ever since I was like a little boy, like I was always like into like the little plastic dinosaur toys, little plastic lizards, like a bunch of little Star Wars action figures. But I was just starting to get into Lego, and I picked up a Lego Octane like semi truck that had like 3 little race cars in it, and I also my mom gave me the option to get like one more toy, and I discovered the Bionicles, and this is when the Hordika were out, like when they were brand new. And my favorite color was red, so obviously I picked up Vakama. And after that, I kind of just like looked at the instruction booklet, saw all the different ones that you could get, and I was just hooked at that point. But I would say Vakama is probably my first actual Bionicle set.
All right.
Nice.
You were hooked in from the start. That's how drugs work.
Basically,
What inspired you to become a biotuber?
Again, I think this goes back to the first question with the early biotubers with Kyler Nuva. I think he was one of the main ones that I watched. There was also, again, Moon Werewolf Air, Shadow Gear, and then I'm not sure if you know who he is. He doesn't have any of his stuff up now because I'm pretty sure he deleted all of the stuff on his channel. But I think he was kind of the one that I went towards a little bit more as far as like basing my mocks off of. His YouTube channel was Hanmolo05. He just had a bunch of really weird, interesting skits on there that were a little bit more kid-friendly than some of the others were. But again, it's probably just those early biotubers.
It's interesting to hear about like old biotube. And, like, I don't know, occasionally I'll, like, take a time machine back to 2008 and watch, like, Kyler Nuva's stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, you look at this stuff now and it's, like, all these new projects that they're doing. And
yeah, I mean, a lot of it's, and especially with new biotube, it's, it doesn't feel the same. Not that that's a bad thing. Like, everything changes from each generation to the next. But, I mean, there was something that the old biotube had that I do feel like the new one is lacking. But, like I said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with either generations. But
yeah.
The first one, I think everyone looked up to a lot of those people. And, I mean, hey, they got like a bunch of views for a lot of the stuff that they had. And it worked for them.
Yeah. No, it is just kind of funny. Like, you look at a really tall, crazy-looking mock moving across the screen with subtitles and, like, rock music playing in the background. Then you look at now, and it's, like, it's so much crazier, and it's cool to see the difference and whatnot.
I do think that the best thing that the second generation, that this generation of biotubers has, is a lot of people will not use the subtitles. That was a huge thing that I absolutely hated about the old generations because they never wanted to use their voice, whether they didn't have a mic or they just didn't want to. Mm-hmm. I do appreciate everybody using their mics and taking advantage of that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's times where I've even thought about like going back just to that old style just for the hell of it, you know, like, hey, let's just throw an old style video in here. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
What was the hardest video to make?
The hardest video, I would probably say, there's a few. First off, I would definitely say that the Sartix movies, like that little trilogy, was pretty challenging because of I didn't really have a lot of places I could go. I didn't have a car at the time. I didn't even have my license, and it was challenging because of location, how much time I had to put into it, what I sacrificed to put into it. And even at that point, because there was one point while I want to say halfway done with the movie where my computer crashed, and I got home from school. I was like, you know what, let's play some Minecraft, and turned on my computer, and I got the blue screen of death. And I finally got it restored. Then I turned it on, and I thought I had lost everything. I can't remember exactly what happened, but something backed up. So thankfully I was able to do that, but I lost a lot of stuff. I had to reshoot some things. And whoever uses Movie Maker, whoever has used it, they all know what a pain it can be. And a lot of times it doesn't like a lot of big projects, which is one of the reasons why it got turned into a trilogy, because that was all supposed to be the first movie. I mean, I had like 8 scripts written for all the other movies that I wanted to do.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
But I do think that is the number one hardest one that I had to make. Insurrection Season 2 has been pretty difficult because of the larger mocks and just the fact that all of the joints are really loose. Yeah. I mean, to get a lot of the scenes done for the final episodes, I had to use nails to keep them in place, like slide them into the pinholes on their feet.
Yeah, it's definitely
All
hard
right.
to film outside because just grass is a pain.
Yeah, and the sunlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, the weather.
I remember when I was shooting the beginning of Sartix, the movie, the scene when they're on the boat. I was out there from, I want to say 8 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock at night, shooting that, or in the evening at least, shooting that whole scene.
Wow.
So that took a lot. Got a pretty nice tan out of it.
Yeah.
How'd you
You've truly
build
come
the
through
boat,
hell.
though? That's what I look at when I see that scene. I'm like, where did this massive boat come from?
Actually, my neighbor, he was a huge woodworker and everything, elderly man, and God rest his soul. But I just asked him. I was like, "Hey, is there any chance you would help me make a boat for this film that I want to make? I need to put like so many figures on it, and I was just wondering if you'd help me." And he just pulled me into his workshop, and he threw something together for me.
Nice.
Cool.
That's really cool. Goddamn.
And he was an awesome neighbor, and he actually passed away in the beginning of shooting season 2, and that was pretty heartbreaking because he was a huge family friend and everything. But I've still got that up in the attic. Good memory.
What a beautiful legacy.
I'd say so.
Mm-hmm.
If you could make a video without any limitations, what would it be?
There's a lot of stuff that I could do with that. If I could make multiple videos, I would probably, like, if I had all the time in the world, all the resources, all the mocks, all the parts that I could use to build all the mocks, I would definitely go back and make the war. I'd do the whole war before the movies, remake the movie, and then the first movie at least, and then make all the other movies, get that all out. And because Insurrection technically isn't quote unquote canon, I would probably still even do that because that's a fun storyline that I came up with. But I'd probably just do the whole the war and then all the Sartix movies just to get that done.
When you said Insurrection is canon and stuff, so you have like the multiverse with Tech and other people. So how does that work?
We actually have been talking about that because I have a Snapchat group chat with Tech, William Furno, Jake, and then Aquatics, and we all kind of talk about that. That was one of the big things that William Furno was trying to figure out with for his movies here, because after I did Hydrix, Rockex's, and Tech's death, that's kind of when we decided, let's combine our stories and whatnot. But a lot of stuff gets retconned for Tech's universe in season 2, and then eventually what was going to be season 3 of Insurrection gets retconned as well. So he decided it's 2 different universes, but everything that has happened still happens, but in a different way. So same universe, or 2 different universes, but same different outcomes.
What is one Bionicle set that you would want for parts, one for display, and one you would implement into your story, whether that be the movies, Insurrection, anything?
So a set that I would want for parts. That's a little bit of a tricky one. I used quite a bit of Siderax parts for Sartix and Thyre, but I didn't get the ones that I was looking for. I would definitely say an older set because of all the Technic, but I honestly can't think of the ones that had the best parts. So I'll probably just stick with Siderac or something like that. For display, I would definitely say the Toa Matanui Titan set. Do not have that, and I would love to pick that up sometime on eBay, but it's not cheap by any means, but definitely that one for display. And then one I would implement into my story would probably be, and I can't remember if it's the right name or not, the tan vehicle. I think it's a Thornatus, the one that they used in Legend Reborn. that
Yes.
vehicle. Probably that vehicle.
The Sartix and Thyre thing kind of reminded me, and just out of curiosity, what is the status, I guess, on your CCBS mocks? Like, what ones have you built? Have you built any more?
Oh,
The video.
okay. Everyone that you have seen in that Rule the World video, that I believe is all that I have. Like, after that video, I started making a Sandstorm, a Hydrix, and I think one other that I cannot remember. I know I revamped Tannerite's CCBS version.
So why was Tannerite so small?
I don't know. I kind of kept small Tannerite around from the 4th of July last year, or 2 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago. I don't really have a big answer for that. It was just something that I thought would be fun, like a little chibi. But other than that, I do think that those are all the CCBS ones that I have built.
Nice.
So obviously you can't use there's not any like CCBS mask for certain characters. So what was your thought process between them or giving them new masks?
That was just I'd say the main case would probably be Rocket, because he had the Akimu mask. I tried fitting on his original mask onto his CCBS body, and I want to say like the whiskers or sideburns underneath his helmet kind of got in the way, and he could only look up at like a 45-degree angle, and I didn't want to keep doing that. So I was originally going to go with the Core Hunter helmet for him, but I do not have Core Hunter, so that was an issue. And I just grabbed the next thing that I thought would kind of make him look a little bit more like him, because he had all those spikes on his head, and then Ikimu's got the 3 little crown pieces. So I thought maybe that could work, but I think the other one was Varix with the Stringer helmets. That was just I figured it would go well, complementing Coupler because he has the Stormer helmet, and I didn't think that giving him his original one would be too good. I mean, because it's a smaller helmet versus the Varix one where it's super long. So I'd just say more so for size was kind of the reasoning behind that.
If you could bring back a previous mock of yours, what would it be? It would be rebuilt from your current pieces? It would be brand new? Or would it be any of these?
Okay,
Like, you could snap your fingers and an old mock would literally just be right there on your desk.
is this a character that I made previously and then just like took apart, or is this like something that I killed off in my story?
Either one that you don't have currently at the moment.
Oh boy. I'm thinking back to, you know what, let me check my original YouTube channel to see if I had any on there. Because I built, like, back in 2013, I built a whole bunch of them. I mean, they weren't the best, but they definitely did mean a lot to me back in the day. I actually think I would probably bring back Alpha or Beta. I mean, they showed up in the Sartix movie, but I just oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, no, because I originally was going to make the whole war before the movies, and it'd probably be Alpha or Beta. If not them, then it would probably be Venom. Venom was actually supposed to be the villain for the 3rd and 4th Sartix movie. He was like an ancient Makuta. That was kind of like the whole thing there. Like, they were very ancient, like old guys. But yeah, he was kind of the one pulling the strings for the war, and then up until the movies.
So, like, in the Sartix movies, for example, there's more Makuta, and they're fighting the Makuta, compared to Insurrection, where they're fighting, the knights or soldiers and stuff. So,
yeah,
what was the thought process behind the transition and that type of thing?
Well, with that, I'll actually also kind of describe the transition from Bionicle to real, kind of like real life things. Like, I I started rewriting everything, and I kind of I started writing the war and everything just so I could get an idea of what happened and what went down. So the Makuta, they changed to a faction called the Metacall, because, like, keep in mind, I decided, like, I'm going to make these real people, like, these are people in sets of armor. So technically, the movies, like all the main characters are fighting just regular people. It's just like super soldiers in a way. But they went on to fighting, from fighting people to fighting interdimensional demons. And the reason why I chose the Knights for Season 2, I mean, with Insurrection, I wasn't really sure where that was going to go. I've made a lot of characters over the years, and a lot of them have only been seen through stop motion. A lot of them have not been seen due to the fact that they're only on paper. And when I was halfway through writing Season 1, I thought back to the 7th Sartix movie, where at this point Sartix is dead, and it's his son, it's Thyre and his siblings that are kind of running the show right now, and they go into the 7th Hell, and I was like, you know what? I never really got to talk about Zira. She was a pretty important villain, and at that point I kind of decided to throw her into the mix, because the 7th Hell was a very interesting arc for that whole storyline. I thought, might as well kind of go with demons that are non-killable, make it a little bit interesting for the characters.
What is your favorite Biotube series and why?
I would have to say probably Kyler Nuva's, I can't remember the name, but I want to say, it was Reign of Terror. I started watching Reign of Terror when it first came out, and I mean, as he got older, he obviously kind of ran into the same situation that I did. But I watched that from the very beginning, and I kind of watched up until its quote-unquote end. I want to say it was probably because he did keep the Bionicle theme going throughout that war and that storyline that he has. Like, he had a whole bunch of Rakshi, he had a whole bunch of Makuta, Dark Hunters. I mean, the same could even be said for the Shadowed 1-1's. I can't remember his series, but
Salvation.
Yeah, Salvation. Same could be said to that one, but I think I kind of clung to Kylo Nuva's a little bit more, because I watched him a lot more than I did watch the Shadowed one.
What are your thoughts / opinions on other super new, or not new, but popular Biotubers now, like Maniamac, Thatchmac?
Maniamac, I actually did love his series a lot. I actually was going to collab with him for my 200 subscribers special, because I built Devasorak, and I was going to have Sartix fight Devasorak, and we talked, and things didn't work out the way it was supposed to. And I mean, we were both pretty humble about it and understanding. So when I was talking to him, I had positive feedback, and it was an overall good experience. I like his videos, but he snapped at Aquatics, because he made a couple mocks of his, like Drazen, I think was the black and blue one.
Zaries, I think.
Zaries, that's it, thank you. He snapped at him for making the mock and everything, and after that I've just kind of had a little bit of a negative viewpoint, because I mean, it was the same thing that I did, and I feel like maybe I mean, personally, I don't know what was going on inside his head, but after that I was kind of a little bit turned off by his channel. I mean, I still love his videos, but as a person, I don't have as much respect for him as I used to. Thatchmac, or is that right? Thatchmac?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember, which one is he again?
He has the Fables of the Multiverse.
Oh, yeah, okay. Actually, I think he is a great Biotuber. He's got amazing animation, really good storyline. I loved the last film that he came out with. I can't remember a lot of his videos because I've only seen a few, and that was a year or two ago. But I do think that he's got a lot of potential to be something pretty good. His cinematography is on point. Animation is the highest quality that I've seen in any Biotuber to date. I do think that he's a pretty cool Biotuber.
I feel like we should have came up with these questions on the fly because I just keep thinking of off-script stuff. But the Zaries thing kind of gave me a thought. What do you think about people what are your thoughts on people who will build your mocks or your self-mocks? I mean, I built Sartix's torso for like 5 seconds and I took it apart just to see what I could do.
Yeah.
But like, what do you like? I've seen some people out there where I'm like, that's kind of reminiscent.
Yeah.
And personally, my self mock has looked like Sartix before. So like, what do you think about like inspiration and direct, like almost copying?
Nowadays, I have a completely different view. I mean, when I was kind of when my channel was kind of had its high peak and I was getting like 1,000 views per video. Back then, I thought like, hey, if people are going to copy my stuff, like that's not fair. And I have overreacted a couple times on certain situations like that. And if I could go back and change it, I definitely would because, like any sort of like copying or whatnot, it's in my eyes now it's very flattering and it's like, oh wow, I can't believe I have this kind of effect on people. I would definitely say like as long as it's not like the exact same mock, as long as it's not the exact same character, you know. Because I mean I'm guilty of it too. Everyone is, I'm sure. I would just say as long as it's like you're not making it the same character and like completely copying everything, then I don't see any problem to it. I mean, if you were to use like Sartix's torso, I wouldn't care. I think it's cool that I have that effect on people. And if anyone overreacts, and like again, I have done it, I'm guilty of it, but I don't see the reason to overreacting to something like that. I mean, I think it's cool, you know?
Yeah.
Plagiarism isn't okay.
How did you get into mock building?
Mock building would probably this answer is probably going to be the same as 3 and 1. Ever since I got onto YouTube and I saw like all these different YouTubers making all these different things. I mean, before I had always experienced with kind of mocking in a way, but I never really decided to make my own character. I always would take stuff apart and like, hey, this is my mock for the newest brand new set. Other than that, I would definitely say a lot of Biotubers from the past, like when I first started YouTube and just from watching things in general.
What do you think of Bionicle G1, Hero Factory, and Bionicle G2?
Bionicle G1 will always be my baby. I have grown up with that since I was a kid. Bionicle was my childhood. And I didn't really get too much into the lore until after it ended, really. Bionicle G1, like I said, it's my baby. I love the storyline, and I will always be a huge fan of it. And everyone was completely depressed by Bionicle ending, because I remember hearing that they were going to make a whole bunch of new sets of like Madanui, Akar, and Kina and Gresh going to like different worlds and whatnot. And I was looking forward to that so much, but nothing lasts forever. So I was pretty excited about Hero Factory. When I saw that they were making them kind of the same style as the Bionicle Stars, I was a little disappointed. I mean, I still got the sets because I was like, hey, this is what's going to replace Bionicle. It can't be all too bad. I loved the sets. The sets for Hero Factory were great, especially the first wave, like when you got Von Nebula, rotor, like those. It had the Bionicle feel to it. I missed that when 2.0 came out and it got the new system. But I mean, the new system has a whole bunch of new possibilities with it as well. And as it progressed, I do think that it got better. The storyline was very hard for me to follow because, I mean, especially with the episodes, like they always left it on a cliffhanger. And to my knowledge, the only cliffhanger that they followed through with was leaving Von Nebula's staff in the room and then Breakout. Other than that, they never really followed through on a lot of things, and some things got retconned from what I recall, and a lot of things just changed along the way, and I wasn't too pleased with it, but I still liked it. I do think that the way it went out was kind of it was the same as Bionicle, you know, it went out very, very poorly. And then for Bionicle G2, I was ecstatic when I found out it was coming back. I loved the first, like the 2015 sets. I loved those sets. And because, I mean, like, hey, it was like Bionicle, but CCBS, and I thought that they looked very, very promising. The storyline was okay. I was not as happy with it as I had hoped I would be. And as it just kept progressing, I felt like it was just aimed too much at children, and it wasn't the same Bionicle as we had when we were much younger. And I don't think anything could replace G1 or even come close to doing what G1 did.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, another part of why G1 was so good is because, like, it also happened while pretty much everyone was a kid, so, like, it obviously was, like, it was a different experience, so, like, the thing with rebooting it is, like, you can't really get that experience back.
Yeah. And, I mean, part of it is growing up, I feel, too. But for me, I mean, I was still doing this while I was a senior in high school, and I continued to do it all throughout my first 2 years of college. That's up until I finally started to grow out of it and wanted to expand my horizons. I mean, don't get me wrong, Bionicle is going to have a huge place in my heart, and I mean, my plan is to buy every single set and put it on display when I finally have my permanent house, you know? And if I can ever get into acting and whatnot and show writing like I plan to, I would definitely love to reboot, like maybe like get like a TV show going for it. But I do
like
think
an animated show or something.
Yeah,
like
I mean
a 2D
that would
animated.
be the plan, you know. But a lot of that's so far out, and that, even then, it's like I already said, it's it all happened when we were kids. So of course we're gonna feel as strongly as we do about it.
So,
Yeah.
you talked about 2D animated shows and stuff. If it was possible for you to like redo Insurrection as like an animated show,
Oh, totally, yeah.
would you want 2D, 3D?
I would probably choose 3D. I'm not. Well, I don't know. That kind of depends. I'd probably do 3D. If I could choose my animator, I would probably go with the people who did Star Wars: The Clone Wars, because that is by far my favorite 3D animated show. I do love 2D animation because it was something that I grew up on, and I don't see as much of it nowadays, because the 3D animation, that's like the biggest thing right now. It's easier to do. It's all on the computer. But with 2D animation, a lot of that was always hand drawn. And I mean, especially look at like a lot of older films. Like my number one favorite childhood movie is The First Land Before Time, and I had so much respect for those animators because it was all hand drawn. Like I love that style. If I were to go 2D, I would definitely go with that kind of style. I don't care how old it looks. I love that style to death. So that one's got a bit of a two-pronged answer to it. If I can do 2D, I would definitely go back to like that old 2D animation style. 3D, I would choose the artists for the Clone Wars.
Yeah, and 2D does give a lot of possibilities for like animation. You know, like you have a lot of like possibilities. You can do whatever you want with 2D. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, animation, regardless, you have no limits. except for
Oh
what
yeah,
you.
fair point. Yeah.
But I have so much respect for the 2D animators of like the old films and whatnot.
What color is your toothbrush?
What?
That's sensitive information. I prefer not to explain why some of it is brown.
Oh no.
Artie, you asked me that before the interview. You were like, I'm going to ask Sartix that. I was like, okay. I did not think you would follow through with it, but I'm so proud.
The life is complete. I've finally asked Sartix what color his toothbrush
I can rest easy now.
Oh god.
and finally die.
Jeez.
You have finally achieved it, Artie. You have finally achieved like
Tranquility.
finally, your life is worth it.
I did it, boys.
No, do you guys have any
Yeah, I have one
questions
question.
regarding? Oh, go ahead.
I got one. Well, like
Yeah,
you just mentioned like Clone Wars, and now like you love that show and all that. What do you think about like the new like not remake, but like the new how they brought it back and the show just coming back and the whole show? What do you think about it?
I loved season 7. Season 7 was amazing, and I do wish that they would have not like made the season so short, because I watched the original unfinished animatics of what was supposed to be all in season 7. I don't know why they only made it 12 episodes, but it was very, very well done. The only things that I was not a fan of were the episodes with Ahsoka and those two sisters. I absolutely hated those two characters.
So boring.
Yeah, I
But
just skipped those.
the final arc with the Siege of Mandalore and how well it connected with Revenge of the Sith, it was beautiful. The episode where Order 66 was executed, it actually brought me to tears the second Rex dropped his helmet, and the final episode made me just bawl my eyes out. I loved. I do think it was a perfect ending to that show, but it's I absolutely love that show so much. But I cannot.
We went into a really spoilerish area. I did not know that most of that stuff was going to happen, but oh well. My problem. I made the question. It's my fault.
I do apologize, but I at this point I kind of expect everybody to know, so I do apologize for that.
We'll post
That's
spoiler
cool.
And
warning.
besides, it wasn't really that big of a spoiler. Is it like Order 66 was always going to happen?
Sadly,
Yeah.
I mean it's
Yeah.
when you watch it, it's heartbreaking. Ugh.
The Star Wars kind of reminded me. Have you watched Mandalorian?
Who hasn't?
It's such a
It's
good
very
show.
That is a very
Have
well.
you seen the
well-
baby?
The baby Yoda that
Oh, baby!
my coworker that she's not a big Star Wars fan, and my friend Mo and I have blown up on her for this. Like, you cannot say you will not watch Star Wars, but she has seen all of the Mandalorian, and it was just for the baby Yoda.
That's fair.
She
Why
doesn't
else
care
would
about
anyone
anything.
watch it?
Fair enough.
She just wants baby Yoda.
Really excited for the season 2 of Mandalorian, just because like
Same.
Ahsoka's gonna be in it. And
I have not
Dirty
watched
Rex.
Mandalorian. I really don't
Um,
care.
Isn't there like Boba Fett in it or something?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know how that's gonna play out, but all right. But no,
Alright.
I'm pretty excited for season 2 because due to the fact that Ahsoka is in my top 3 favorite Jedi Masters, or just Jedi in general. So I'm looking forward to season 2.
Wait a minute, she's a Jedi. Well,
I mean, I said
never
Jedi
mind.
Master because my top 3 favorite Jedi is Obi-Wan and Yoda, and then there's Ahsoka. So I said Masters, like, because Yoda and Obi-Wan are definitely
Yeah.
Masters. But I don't know. I consider her kind of a Master by the end of the Clone Wars, or if not by the point she shows up in Rebels.
Oh, Rebels was really good.
Yeah.
I got mixed opinions, but oh well. What do you think
I
about Rebels though?
it's okay.
despise Rebels, honestly. I mean, if it didn't have certain characters like Ezra, Sabine, I can't remember Yeah, Zeb. If it didn't have like those
Um,
characters, I would be fine because they just have the dumbest dialogue. I mean, I like Zeb because I love his voice actor. It's I think it's God, I can't remember his name. I want to say Jeff Bloom or Stephen Bloom. I think that's his name. He voiced Starscream in Transformers Prime, and
Yeah.
he does a whole bunch of other voices and TV shows. So I love the character only for the actor, but I absolutely despise the animation style. It's too rounded, it's too clean, too shiny. There's so much like going on, and I mean I know a lot of the animation was changed to look like the original trilogies, but I can't get past the animation style. Like I don't know why they wouldn't have just gone to like the same animators as the Clone Wars, because I remember after the Clone Wars, like the season 6 was passed out like on Netflix, and it was like, oh, this is the end of the Clone Wars. There was stuff that I had seen for like the Rebels TV show, and I was like, oh my god, this is interesting because it kept the Clone Wars art style, and I saw like, you see Obi-Wan and like a photo of Obi-Wan and Ahsoka in their Clone Wars animation style, but the way they look in Rebels, you know, and there was a lot of promising stuff for it, but then they just completely scrapped all the good ideas. And I mean, a lot of stuff that happens in Rebels I like, but there's still so much that I absolutely despise about it.
So have you heard about like there's gonna be like a sequel to Rebels?
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about
really?
that. Yeah, I've got mixed feelings because if it's got Ahsoka in it, I'm fine. But as far as I know, it's focus heavily on Ezra, and
Yeah.
I can't stand it. I can't stand it at all whatsoever.
I mean, if they make him a better character, then it'll probably be fine. I don't know. But oh well.
Yeah, that's a huge if at this point. I mean, because
I
Rebels.
don't know. Maybe they'll do the whole Luke Skywalker thing and being an island and become like, I don't know.
I don't know. If it's not so directed at kids. I mean, that was I think the main issue with Rebels. I mean, because in the Clone Wars you saw so much like violence and like most of the deaths, if not all the deaths in Rebels, are all off screen, which I mean I guess
Most of the deaths are just like the stormtroopers dying. Yeah.
and even then
You can't see their faces. They got helmets and they're like baddies, so it's not going to be sad.
I don't know. It's just different.
No, well.
And I'm not a fan. I'll probably watch it just
Oh,
to say I've watched it, but it's
Just to say I've watched it, it's a pretty good like reason to watch something, not gonna lie.
So, are you planning on any other series after?
On this channel, no. I mean, I will try to do a few things every now and then on this channel on Sartix Archives, but most things will transfer over to the new Sartix Films channel. I mean, what I intend to do here is every now and then I'll probably upload a video. I've got the character things coming up where you can learn about the Knights, learn about Sartix and his team. I'll probably do like top 10 favorite mocks, top 10 favorite videos, you know, that kind of stuff. Just to give you guys a little bit of content every now and then. But other than that, after Insurrection Season 2 comes out, I will release the scripts of Season 3.
That was my next question. Okay.
And the only scene that I have done of Season 3, which I gave it to Tech for him to watch to get his kind of like approval and what he thought of it. And he said it's heartbreaking. It's hard not to cry when you watch it. And it's a very emotional scene because it's pretty much the final thing that you get to see of Season 3. But I told him about the ending, how it was supposed to end, and he said it's a beautiful, beautiful ending, and just it's a good way to wrap everything up, and it almost comes full circle in his words. So I will be releasing that. other than that, there's nothing else that I have planned for this channel.
Was the thing that you showed to Tech the thing you told me about on one of our calls before with the supernova thing?
Yes.
That is it.
That,
okay.
Yep.
I won't say anything else because I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, that is one of my biggest regrets, is not finishing everything. I wish that I had the time to get everything done, because season 3 is by far my favorite as far as it was written, because you get so much stuff that is, it's even back to like the movies, with Sartix and Sandstorm. There's some sequences with them, a lot of infighting with especially with Crow and Necro. Then there's some new villains that are introduced, some new characters that we get to meet that were actually supposed to be in the 6th Sartix movie. And Sartix is just a completely different character at that point. Thyre has a lot of big moments, and so does Aqua, or not Aqua. Aqua. Yeah. I can't believe I just like blanked on his name there. A lot of season 3 is big character development for Aqua, and he's got a lot of big moments. Like, my plan was, because like Tech says the previously on Insurrection in season 2, it was supposed to be Aqua for season 3. But yeah.
I really like the focus on Tech in season 2. It's just kind of neat.
That was kind of me, like, at least me hoping that once everyone heard that for the very first episode, is that, and my intention was season 2 was not supposed to focus heavily on Sartix like season 1 did. I wanted to give a lot of screen time to other characters, like you saw in episode 7. Episode 9, sadly, I only have one scene shot of that, so a lot of it's going to be just photos of characters talking, but you will have the dialogue. Episode 9 is very strictly character development, and you learn a lot about like Zira and her knights, a little bit more there, and about the 7th Hell. But yeah, a lot of it's just character development and making sure that while I do get Sartix's story out, it's not just about him anymore.
Well, cool.
Do you perhaps watch anime?
I did not understand a single word of that.
Do you perhaps watch anime?
The only one that I watch is Ruby. I mean, it's not really an anime, considering the fact that it's made in the U.S. and it's by Rooster Teeth. I love that show. Same can be said for Avatar: The Last Airbender, but I have grown out of my weeb phase. I used to watch a bunch of anime back in my sophomore year of high school, but I kind of got bored of it. Say that.
So, what's your least favorite episode of Insurrection?
Least favorite would probably be episode 7 of season 1. And that was like I want to say probably the shortest one. I felt like I could have added a little bit more into that, but I was kind of lazy on that, because season 1 was supposed to be like 2 or 3 episodes shorter, but I wanted to add a little bit more into it, and things got a little boring after that, and I couldn't fit any more into any other episodes.
Ever like watch your old videos and like cringe? Like, I know it's a second question.
All the time. All the time. Yeah, no, I'm sure everyone kind of has that same thing going on. I mean, I like watching what I've made just to, like, nostalgic, but I'm sure everybody, like, I mean, I know William Furno went back and watched a bunch of his old stuff, and like, I don't have the bravery to do that, but I do think everyone's got that same thing kind of going on.
Was any, because okay, so in season 2 of Insurrection, you can kind of see Sartix getting a little annoyed at Zira, and I don't think Zira likes him very much either. I think you should just have an episode where it's just Sartix and Zira marriage counseling.
It's actually funny you say that, because towards the very end of episode 8, there is a scene, completely dedicated to Zero and Satrix discussing like what's going on and everything. And I didn't really realize this until I started uploading it and finishing the episodes. Satrix is a real simp this season. He is a huge simp.
What a simp.
So it's I don't know. He and Zero have a very interesting relationship. Like,
Yeah.
they're married, but it's not like a good
It's
marriage.
toxic relationship, okay.
But
Very
I mean, if
abusive.
he's a simp, so it can't be. I mean, carry
my
on.
question is, and I'm probably gonna kill everybody in this call, because we'll be on.
Please do.
We'll be on other EN calls, and I'll be like, so in this episode of Walking Dead, because I'm addicted to the show.
Mhm.
But is there going to be any hints in season 3, like in the scripts, or in season 2, of Satrix kind of doing what Negan has been doing now?
Explain what you mean by that. Like, are you talking about like where like he? Wait, okay. So, Han, where are you in The Walking Dead at this point? Because you said you just got to Alexandria, right?
Yes, so they're in Alexandria right now, but I kind of watch some other like clips from newest stuff just so I can stay up to date. So I kind of know that like Negan has left Alexandria, like he was in prison and stuff.
Yeah.
And like was hanging out with Alpha and the Whisperers. So, but he like was good kind of, and him and Daryl kind of talk.
Yeah.
And they're hanging out.
No, there's nothing like that in season 3. Satrix has actually just become more hell-bent on killing Sartix, and it's actually it kind of affects his relationship with Atrix, because Atrix is like, well, I mean, I want this fight to be over too, but I don't want to die, kind of thing. And Satrix doesn't care what happens, because at this point, like, his whole plot and his whole plan has been thrown out the window because of what happens in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a lot more aggressive and very impulsive in season 3. And there is actually a very, very interesting scene in the final episode with Satrix and Thyre, where they kind of discuss things and how it has to be, how it could have been. So Satrix is more or less the same as he was in season 1, but different, is what I'm going to say.
It is also interesting to see Atrix do what he does, because he was in the movies very briefly.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons I brought him back, was because he wasn't really too present in everything. Because, I mean, he was supposed to be a huge player in the second movie, and his fate actually winds up being the same as it is in season 3 of Insurrection. Things get a lot more brutal in season 3, is what I'm gonna say. But I'll let you guys figure that out once you read it. So,
well, this has been a great interview, Sartix. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. No. Anytime.
Really.
Yeah. If I was seeing you in person, I'd shake your hand vigorously right about now.
I'm huge on shaking hands, so there's that. All right.
Well, alrighty.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, that was a fun time. All right.
Yes.
Before I go, I've got one more thing to say.
Uh-oh.
Tech dies in
What was
season
that
2.
What'd he say?
Oh, no.
Oh no.
He said Tech does
Oh,
in season
no.
2.
So sad. Oof.
Rip.
That is rough.